Hello everyone, my name's Poppins. Welcome back to another episode of the XCraft Survival Series. You can see I'm here on top of our creeper spawner. I'm trying to grind some gunpowder for my plans for the 1.16 update. Today we got quite a few plans. Not much going on in the server. Obviously I'll do a little bit. But mainly this is just be a planning episode. We're going to plan out how we're going to get some netherite. We're also going to maybe do some plans for the super smelter. Don't know yet. But yeah, so to see what I'm going to do with all this gunpowder, let's jump into a redstone testing world. Alright, so here we are in a redstone testing world. I'm kind of going to show you what the plan is. So this kind of harkens back to the old days of factions, back when we'd use triangles. This is essentially the idea of a left shooter. This is the first idea that I'm kind of going to use. Obviously, we're using TNT. I mean, what else would you use gunpowder for in mining? So the idea is that explosion of TNT, the TNT is going to follow a trajectory very different from an arrow. It's not going to go straight line to its destination. It's going to go in the Y direction first until it can't go any further, or it's the end of the tick. And then it will travel in the X direction until it can't go any further, or the end of the tick, and then it will travel in the Z direction. And that happens all in one tick. And so if this were to be one tick or the same tick, just a second order of entities here versus here, then it would of course explode here. And another interesting thing is that once it hits a barrier, it will no longer move in that direction. So if we had more ticks to go, it would never actually move further in the Y direction if we had a barrier here. And so that's essentially the left shooter idea, whereas you can move this barrier here, forwards and backwards to maybe target a different X coordinate, which is really useful when you're raiding and lots of stuff. Back in the old days of factions, this would be a really key concept if you're wanting to raid more complicated bases. And the other concept we're going to use is tunneling. So this also comes when people would design their bases poorly. They would gen their walls at the same level of their slabs, and they would build all on the same level, all at bedrock or whatever, and be very easy to raid with what's called a tunneling cannon. So usually you'd of course have water here, but if you're any good base builder, you'd do that. But some people would just neglect that and would actually put the wall here. And so what you would do is you would push sand across to make this giant one layer of no water. And so you don't even have to hybrid cannon. And so you would prime this TNT and then this TNT in the same tick, but due to order of entities, these would explode first and then these. So what would happen is it would propel all these TNT, and then the first piece would go as far as it can and then explode, a little bit. And then the next piece is still over here, so it's going to go as far as it can and then explode a little bit. And then the next piece, and the next piece, and the next piece, and then you're in the base. And so within one tick, you can get all the way into the base. And so that's kind of, both those ideas are kind of going to be what I want to do in the nether. So essentially we're going to have a left shooting tunneling cannon. I don't know if this idea is going to work, but I really want to see if it does. So our first shot is going to essentially just be a tunneling shot, so it'll kind of break through, one Z coordinate, and it will reveal a little bit of ancient debris, and then say, we go through sequentially and we put a barrier here. It doesn't have to be obsidian, it can, but as long as it doesn't explode, and the TNT would run in and then hit the barrier and then start traveling in the Z direction, and then it would explode, of course, all of this, hopefully revealing even more ancient debris. Right, so the first thing I want to do is make sure I have enough power, because you need times root 2 as many to go one direction, because you're exploding in a diagonal. You also need like 15% more power than you do every block. So this is about the fourth of what I want, because I want to be able to clear out a 256 by 256 area. Maybe it's a little ambitious. I might cut that down. Yeah, and then the other question is, like, how far can TNT fall before it explodes? Ooh. Yeah, that's really good. Maybe I could probably quite a few stacks of TNT later. Now, the reason I want to manually put in TNT is because I don't want to have to load dispensers if I'm only going to use this a few times. I mean, the reason I'm using this is, like, why don't you just strip mine and then put TNT in there? I mean, like, that's no fun. Why not use a cannon if you can use a cannon for cannoning? Even more stacks of TNT. Alright, so looks like we're already at 6 stacks per shot. And this will get us to around 236 by 236 area, which is really, really pretty good. Obviously, you don't have to use 100% of either side for either shot. If we want to shoot right here, that way we don't need this entire section. We can just fill up maybe one slice. Yeah, this is going to be really expensive, but it's going to be really fun, and we definitely have the gunpowder for it. So, I guess now it's time to build up the actual activation. Alright, backups have been made, TNT placed, priming circuit is done. I had to use some slime block, sticky piston, instant wire contraption here to actually link up everything at the same time. So let's see if this explodes. Here we go. This is the first test. Okay, that was... Okay, so I just realized that this actually pulls... It's trying to pull all the observers, so it only updated this block, or only updated this observer, so I'm going to have to redesign this pillar. Alright, now I've fixed it to where we don't violate the push limit anymore, and I had to move these observers so when they get pulled down, they'll actually activate this block and not the block below. And let's try this again. Oh, backup time. Okay, now the backup has been made, and we can... Ooh, let's go. Ooh, that's not a good sign. Alright, well... I think I know what happened. Let's go to the backup. I actually just realized we don't even need to make or restore the backup because I think I'm going to do something different for the TNT. I think I'm actually use dispensers because that was pretty unreliable because the TNT looked like it got caught on the ledges of the activation circuit. So we'll just pretend that's not there. Okay, so I just maybe thought of a way of being able to do this without dispensers. Does this work? No. Okay, it doesn't. We'll just have that hole there. Alright, this is the new design. Basically it looks like a giant hipster door almost, but it's essentially a bunch of instant wire right next to each other with observers going into the TNT, which is really cool because then we can still place the TNT in. I didn't actually go with the dispenser idea like I just mentioned. I do like the idea of just placing the TNT in the world. And I guess... Ooh, let me fill this in real quick. Okay. Backups have been made. And let's see if it works. Ooh, that was a lag spike. Oh. Yes. Alright, so I filled in both sides, so now we have all 6 stacks of TNT. And I also added this little circuit, which I think, due to order of entities, will activate this piece of TNT last, but during the same tick. And so it should, if it works, it should explode somewhere way out there. Alright, so this should theoretically fire this piece of TNT first. I'll place a block as soon as it falls, just so it hits here first, and then it would explode this block. So, oh, I gotta wire up the priming system first. Alright, I got the whole thing wired up, and we'll go right into this button. So when I press it, everything should happen, and let's see. Oh! Okay, so okay, so one thing we did figure out is the order of entities was correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another test just to make sure that this whole entire thing works and that we got the triangle action that we want. Hopefully the cannon doesn't explode this time. Here we go. Should see explosion right there. Ooh. Okay. That was interesting. Ooh, okay. Maybe. Alright, so this is the part where I basically start going insane. I'm just going to spare you most of it and give you the highlights. Yeah, see, what is that? Yeah. Oh, I just realized I should have made a backup this time. So hopefully we should finally get a shot. There was a bit of frustration in that one. In the sky? Do I need to worry about the timing? That is just weird. Alright, here we go. Test number 40 million. Ooh. Now that was new. Maybe it's traveling in the Z direction first? I don't know. Maybe I got my triangles wrong. Oh! Holy cow. Existential crisis involving the internet, Whataburger, and a whole lot of TNT later. Alright, so after quite a bit of testing and quite a bit of internet searching, I've determined that triangles don't really work anymore with TNT. Or at least I thought I understood them, but I clearly don't. We still can't do a normal tunneler, so we may work on that, and there's some other ideas I have to maybe make this work because I really like this idea, even if it's going to be expensive. It's just really cool. But I'm going to have to table this for now because one of my friends, Chubb, needs some redstone help, so let's go help him. Alright, here we are. Oh boy, this is quite the creeper farm. Okay, I kind of like the sound of that. It might be a little bit of a challenge. Ooh, okay. Okay. That seems pretty straightforward. Alright, so here essentially is what the shulker box loader is. So obviously we have our creepers here. They die on this hopper. That hopper will pick up the items, and it's right above this shulker box. So what happens is, if I can get there, is this comparator reads from this hopper, and so when this redstone line gets to the power of 2, meaning this hopper can no longer actually empty into that shulker box, and it will activate this powered rail, activating this observer. So I just realized a fatal flaw. The problem is that that observer is going to fire each time that the powered rail changes, which means that as soon as it unloads that one item that caused it to go up to power 2 on the comparator, means that it's going to fire once it empties, so you're going to have a shulker box of one item mixed in with a shulker box completely full, which is a problem. There used to be some kind of rising edge monostable circuit somewhere, and I didn't realize that until literally this moment, which will fire the piston, getting rid of the shulker box, and then there's a delay, repeater delay of 4 ticks over there that will fire the dispenser that will shoot out the next shulker box. So that's essentially how the shulker box loader works, and then we have it push over into this hopper line, which goes into a very simple item elevator. It'll just go up by 2, and then we'll get into this chest, and we already have one. So yeah, essentially that should work pretty well for him. But now we need to do a little bit of housekeeping stuff. So I'll see you guys over at my shop. All right, let's check and see if we made any sales. None. 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 Oh boy, none. None. But we got one. We got one Impaling 5 book sale. Should probably restock those at some point. And we did get a daily login crate key, so let's go figure that out. Go to warp crates. This is exciting. Ooh. The daily login crate isn't really that fantastic, but we'll see. Okay, that's useful for some crafting. Yeah, that's pretty useful. Okay. Now another thing we need to do is we need to worry about a little bit of, there's a problem with the XP farm right now. So let's go take a look at that. Alright, so the problem is that observers are not really unload proof, and they also can only work so well with T flip-flops and piston T flip-flops and repeater lines, which is kind of what this contraption is made of. You can see we have the problem of it's now filled up and it's not really working because we run on this observer line, and when we go to a repeater line, which will activate this T flip-flop, which will kind of run into a bunch of repeaters and torches that will lock these hoppers. And the problem is that it's not detecting an update because it's always on, and so it's not really flip-flopping the flip-flop. So we need to fix that real quick. We'll probably take out one of these furnaces just so it looks cool. We'll probably fix the floor maybe at some point. Probably not this episode, probably another episode. And yeah, we'll kind of fix up this whole thing. Alright, so I replaced that bad observer system with a now piston system, and so items will fall into the chest, and then they'll hit this comparator, which will go into the piston. The piston will then activate this redstone line, activating all these repeaters. Oop, there we go. And then turning off all these torches, which will then allow items to flow out. Made it. And I have this on both sides. I don't know what kind of aesthetic I'm going to do. It may just be something as simple as, I don't know, like a box around it like that, but then I have to worry about the floor. I don't know. I think I'll leave that for another time. But for now, I think that's all the time I got for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We did a lot today with that cannon. Hopefully that works out. And like, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you're really that bold. And also the server IP is in the description. So I hope you guys join. I hope to see you on. And let's just play some Minecraft together. Alright, I'll see ya. You know, I realized I said at the beginning of the episode that I was going to work on the super smelter, but then I didn't. But I promise I know what I'm doing. Just completely blew my mind. I was up till like 5, 6 in the morning working on that TNT cannon, and it's just, you know, I had enough at that point. So, but yeah, I definitely have that in the works. So that's that.